For those of us who still remember G2's historic 2019 MSI win, and the brief glimmer of hope that Western League of Legends had finally closed the gap with the East, we were reminded once again at Worlds 2024 that that time is now all but a distant dream. Today's video is going to look at the mid-game of G2 versus T1, and how Keria and the rest of T1 were able to suffocate G2 out of the game, in spite of a closely contested early game. Once again, if you're enjoying the videos, please make sure to give me a like and subscription. I'd really appreciate it. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start this one off from Keria's base at 940. And as always, we're going to take a look at the game state and just analyze exactly what position both teams are in. So we can see that the gold is relatively even from both teams, and the objectives have also been split. T1's picked up a dragon, but there's 3 void grubs up from G2. And as far as summoners go, pretty much everyone has everything available to them still. We're just missing flashes from the supports, but Jin's flash will be back up in a second. So the relative strength of both teams is pretty even, and this usually tells us that unless the teams decide to split the map, by that I mean one team goes bot and one team goes top, that the contests will be around the neutral objectives or the center of the map. And on this point, we can see there's a dragon spawning in 4 minutes on bottom side. So bottom side of the map is not so relevant right now. And there's a set of void grubs spawning in 1 minute and 15 seconds. So the objective on the top side of the map is much more relevant now. And as we mentioned at the start of the video, we're going to focus in on the decisions which Keria makes, and how T1 uses vision control to create advantage over G2. So to start with, on this base, we can see that Keria walks out to top side, and the first thing that he's going to look to do is he's going to look to place a ward up on that top side river. Now, this ward is really crucial because it means now that T1 has information on both of those key entrances that we always talk about. So if anyone enters the river from here, from G2, then it means that they're going to be spotted by this ward from Keria. But on top of that, T1 also has a ward on bottom side of the map. Now, for G2, they've also seen Keria on the top side of the map too, so they know that he was just up here. But what Keria does immediately after placing this ward is he just walks towards the center of the map. Because Keria hasn't seen enough information in order for him to make a decision yet. So he just stays in the middle of the map because that keeps him flexible. So for Keria, he can still walk up to top for a defense or for a fight in the river, but maybe if somebody from G2 shows on the bottom side of the map, then Keria can walk himself down there too. And this gives him so much flexibility over his next decision. So what we'll see now for Keria is that Mikyx is spotted up on this top side of the map. And this is where we'll see the difference between T1 support coming through and G2 support, because whilst Keria only placed a ward here, because Keria knows that if he goes for a deep ward, like maybe he goes looking for a ward here, that T1 isn't strong enough to support that, so Keria would die. But for Mikyx, he's just really focused on getting vision set up for Hansama, and he's not thinking about the relative strength of both teams, or maybe he's thinking about it, but he's not playing towards it. And so we'll see that Mikyx's first decision is he's going to overextend for a ward, and that collapse is going to come in from Keria. And also, if we look on that mini-map, we can see that Ahri and Vi are waiting just over this wall. And we'll see that Mikyx is going to die in a second. But this death from Mikyx, it's going to create a snowball effect too. And we can see that in Keria's decision making afterwards. So Keria is going to use his sweeper, and he's going to place some deep vision on the blue buff. And also we'll see in a second that he's going to place a ward in this bush too. And now for T1, they're in a position where they have information on this top side of the map, but on top of that, they know that nobody from G2 has been on this bottom side of the map as well. And this means now for Owner, because this has been swept as well, that Owner can get anywhere between top and bottom of the map without being spotted. So if owner wants to play in this top river, we can see on the minimap, anywhere up to this board, he's not going to be spotted, and owner can get through the entirety of bottom river as well. And this means that all of the members of G2 from the top of the map to the bottom of the map have to be worried about what Vi is doing as long as he stays on that river. And we'll see that Vi is going to be able to use this because Broken Blade is going to overextend now. He's going to look to proxy a wave, and we can see now that Vi is heading down to the bottom side of the map where he's going to be able to pick up a pick onto Broken Blade. So Broken Blade is going to look to flash the wall here, thinking that he can get out, but there's a Vi there waiting for him, and owner is going to chase him down and slowly pick up this kill. But focusing back on Keria, we can see that Keria continues to play aggressively in the middle of the map until owner shows. So we can see now on the minimap that Keria, as soon as owner shows, he immediately starts running and he looks to channel his base. Because now for Keria, he knows that G2 has strength on the top side of the map because owner is on the bottom. So if he stays there, then he can potentially become a target himself. And Keria also recognizes that even though T1 has definitely given this up by killing Na, that he's going to be able to get out to top lane for defense if he runs there straight away. And so now we'll see that Keria starts running up towards top side, and we'll see now Faker, seeing Mickey X behind him, is going to stay under this bottom tower. And for G2, maybe they think that they can kill Faker under this tower, but Faker still has his flash available to him. And we'll see now everyone ultimating on Faker, but Faker's able to get out with his flash. And we'll see Keria's there for defense, and owner will follow up right behind him. And so now on this first sequence, we can already see how through that pick on Mickey X and through the vision control of Keria, Keria has been able to assist Vi in getting a kill on bottom side of the map. And also he's been able to grab a kill on this top side of the map in defense. And all this time, Jhin has been pushing a wave in on mid too. Okay, so skipping ahead to after the replay, we can also see Keria do something incredibly interesting on this sequence too. So instead of basing, Keria is actually going to run all the way from top side of the map to bottom side of the map. So Jax will die under tower for Zeus. And now we see that Caps and Broken Blade are both assigned to this bottom lane. We have two solo laners from G2 on one wave. And this creates an interesting situation for G2 because we can see that Caps has just used his teleport to get in. Because G2 really wants to get down this bottom tower because they have nobody assigned to that top wave. There's nobody from G2 creating pressure on that top side of the map. And we'll see that Keria and Gumayusi coming down is going to force G2 to use more resources in order to get this tower down. So Nocturne's going to have to show, and then also on the minimap, we can see that Nautilus and Kaiser, after pushing in midwave, are going to rotate down to this bottom side of the map. And G2 is going to use more resources, but Keria, as soon as he's decided to give this objective, is going to do the same thing as always, and he's going to take another base. This is going to do something really crucial where it's going to give him tempo over Mickey X. So now Keria can get himself out to the middle of the map before Mickey X is able to get there. And this means that Keria can get down some key vision on that entrance. Because right now for T1, actually because of the way the last sequence played out, they don't have a lot of information to work with. We can see if we look at the minimap that G2 has a ward on top side of the map, and also G2 has bottom side river vision. And the next objective that's spawning is the dragon as well. So there's a lot of information which can be brought out from G2. And so Keria's responsibility right now is to make sure that he can get T1 information so they can start looking to make plays again. And so we'll see the first thing Keria does, just walk out towards bottom side, use the vision plant, and he's going to restore the vision on bottom side of the river here. This is going to spot Mickey X, and it's going to give T1 an idea of where G2 is playing. Now, the other cool thing about this is that for Keria, he's going to just stay bottom a little bit longer so that Faker is able to clear some waves on bottom side. But as soon as Yike and Mickey X are both showing on this bottom side of the map, we can see that, again, there's no vision on the top side of the map for G2, but Na has overextended for the push, and Vi is able to get behind Na, and they're going to look to kill him, which we will see in a second. Broken Blade is going to try to TP out, but the Vi ultimate's going to come through, and he's going to get a kill. And again, we can see from Keria's perspective that as soon as Vi shows up on this top side of the map, that Keria is going to give space, he's going to walk away, and he's just going to run into his top side of the map, and G2 is going to go to the dragon. Now with Broken Blade dead, Zeus is going to be able to push out this top wave, and G2 is going to do the dragon. And we'll see from Keria that he's going to take a base right now. Oh, maybe in a second. He places another ward, I think. We're going to see Keria take a base right now. Now, something very important happens at the end of this sequence on the minimap, which maybe you wouldn't notice. But G2 doesn't send anyone to push this bot wave in. But on the other side, Jax has gotten the top wave pushed all the way in from the middle of the map. Now, side wave push is very, very, very important in League of Legends because at the end of the sequence, if a wave is pushed into your tower, then it means that you're going to have to deal with a wave, you're going to have to push it out. And it means that the beginning of the sequence, you have a task to do before you can make an attack. But on this timer, G2 is going to have to clear that top wave and fix their top side of the map. But because nobody from G2 pushed in bottom wave, T1 doesn't have any defense to make. And so T1 can stay on the top side of the map for longer, or they can look to make a tempo play, so everybody basing fast. And we'll see now another crucial mistake coming in from Mickey X by not recognizing this. And so we'll see that T1, after killing that objective, they're going to spot Mickey X on some deep vision now. And we'll see Faker, Vi killing Mickey X again. The other thing which we can note, again focusing on Keria, is that Keria bases and immediately deploys himself through mid because he knows that there's no threat on the bottom side of the map, so he can potentially look to support an attack on top side, or he's going to be able to repivot down to retake that vision on bottom side if he needs to. But with Mickey X dead, we'll see now that T1's going to look to exploit this again because they've just picked up that Herald from the previous sequence, and now they're in a position where they can just charge this straight down mid. Faker goes in, misses the charm unfortunately, and we'll see Zeus coming in on the flank. And we'll see Keria also missing a Z. And there will be the dive on the tier 2. Now this actually doesn't end up being that bad for G2. They're going to be able to pick up 2 kills, and T1's only going to pick up 1. But actually, if you rewatch the team fight, there's so many things from T1 which miss, which creates a very lucky situation for G2. Okay, so we're going to finish the video there, but I think it's really interesting to note how between just 9 minutes and 16 minutes, that even though the game was even when we started, through very smart vision control and splitting up jungle and support to create opportunities of attack whilst also defending the other side of the map, T1 was able to create a big advantage over G2. And from G2's perspective, we can see that there isn't really a clear understanding from Mickey X, but not just Mickey X, from Broken Blade and the other members of G2 as well, about where their territory is, where they can take vision, where they can push waves, and how to construct a play slowly by taking advantage of the missteps and mistakes which T1 make. Okay, we'll finish the video there. Thanks to everyone as always for watching. And once again, just a reminder that I do offer that coaching on Metafy. So if you're interested in improving your solo queue rank, or just looking to learn more about the game in general, you can book a session with me. It is very cheap as well. I'm just starting out, so I'm offering this coaching at a very low rate. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.